Kia ora, I'm Erin J. Doyle. Welcome to my channel. This video is going to be filmed in two parts. The first part, I'm going to be talking about the 4 books which were shortlisted for the Acorn Fiction Prize and doing a prediction for who will win said prize, and then in a few days time when the awards are announced I will film a reaction to that, so we'll see how we go on the predictions front. So without further ado, predictions time. What I'm going to do, I think, is put this in order of which I think is the most likely to win. I think Entanglement for me is at the bottom of the list. I think this is definitely number 4 just because of that lack of emotional engagement up until the very, very end of the book. Whilst I think it is technically proficient, actual engagement with characters should matter, beauty of prose should matter, and those things are not here. Number 3 for me is A Good Winter, because even though I found it emotionally engaging, it is a pretty standard narration. There's nothing technically complex going on, and as you can see from my lack of post-its, there isn't anything happening in the prose itself that I thought was particularly insightful or poignant or beautiful or for any other reason worth revisiting. For me, this was just a book, not a ooh, insightful glory kind of moment. And that leaves me with these two. This one, I mean, it did give me a lot of giggly joy, but this is my pick for number 1. There is so much going on here. Right from the get-go, this is an interesting object because you have to decide where you're going to start. And it will work no matter which choice you make. I think this, in addition to being an interesting object, also shows some technical proficiency to make that work. It gets points for having an indigenous story being reimagined and made accessible to the modern reader. It gets points for including te reo Māori, but to the right level. Like, you still have to stop and think and translate the words, and over time you even start to learn some of the words, but it's not an overwhelming or inaccessible moment. I think I only had to stop and check on my phone for the first chapter or two to, you know, get the words meaning. So I think the incorporation of a second language has been done in a balanced manner. It introduces a feminine voice and feminine perspective to Māori legends, which, to make a crude, heavy-handed and unfair generalization, tend to be more focused on the male protagonist. This story not only gives a feminine perspective on those legends, but gives each of the women who suffered in some of the more troubling stories page time. They get to exist, they get to show themselves and what they have become and how they feel about the story in which they come from. It shows additional elements of Māori legends which aren't, I guess, something which as a very uninformed reader I didn't know about. So there was a learning to be had with this without becoming dry and inaccessible the way the physics did in Entanglement. And it also gets points for being beautiful. You can see the number of post-its I have here. These are all lines which I thought were either interesting, insightful, or just beautiful prose. So I'm just gonna like pick one at random and hope for the best. Oh, okay. We both thought ourselves as superior to the other. I thought then that he was no match for my intelligence. And here I make that same mistake again, thinking I can outwit you by using the past tense as a disguise. I still believe I am his superior, even though he outwitted me. Like, what a lovely way for a character to admit that they're an unreliable narrator. It's just so well written. Here she's talking about lingering in the trees and watching a group of humans and listening to their language in order to learn it. And she says, I was determined to learn their language because it is an act of love to learn a language, an act of becoming. That is the most beautiful and convincing argument I have ever come across for why New Zealanders should be learning te reo. It's also technically impressive. I think there's important content and I think it is exquisitely written. So that is my pick for the winner, even though total props to the amount of giggling that came about while I was reading Veldin and Greta and Veldin. Okay, I've been talking for forever. I have no idea if this footage will be useful because I know I've tripped over my tongue a few times and I know there has been a lot of background noise, so yeah, we'll see how that goes. So, I'll see you after we find out who wins. Editing me here. I unfortunately had an accident with the footage for my initial reaction. It's not that I did anything to the footage. The problem is that I watched the entire 2-hour long live stream of the Acorn Book Awards. And because it was 2 hours and I was in the privacy of my own home, I was doing things, but all like in my lap, so it would be not caught on camera. And at the exact moment that the Acorn Prize was announced, like the exact moment that the winner appeared on the screen, I dropped whatever it was that was in my lap. I don't even know what it was. I dropped it and I swore. So it looks like I saw who the winner was and was like, oh fuck. And I was like, oh, that's not ideal. I'm not going to try and like reenact my reaction because A, I've told you that it's a lie, and B, acting enthusiasm pretty minimal on Friday at 5:15. So anyway, here we have the Acorn Book Awards and the Acorn Prize for Fiction, which is the biggest prize in New Zealand fiction, our 4 shortlisted books, and our winner! Which is exactly who I thought it would be. I'm not 100% sure that I'm pronouncing the name of this book correctly. I thought it was Kuranga Ituku, but I think I'm pronouncing it slightly incorrectly and I can't quite figure out from the way they were saying it during the award like exactly what I'm getting wrong. I can hear that I'm saying it wrong, but I can't correct yet. I have to work on that. So here's the author looking glorious. Notice that she's wearing feathers and like her sleeves are super long, almost like wings. Very fitting for someone who's written a book about a bird woman who has wings and feathers. I 100% believe that this was worn specifically as a tribute to the main character of her book. Doesn't she look amazing? Not that this is about what people wear, but you know, super suitable. Same with her author photo. That's not in the book, so this was the first time I've seen it, and again, it's clearly done with thought to the book that she's written, which I think is always how it should be, but this is probably one of the like more extreme versions of styling yourself in your author photo to suit what you've written about. But super well done and very impressive. You can also see she's carrying an acorn. This year it's pink. Last year I swear it was blue, so I'm guessing they change the colour of it every year. I hope to have one of them one day. So yeah, there we go. I was right. Not at all surprised. Very, very well deserved. I'm actually not surprised that there appear to be these tributes to the main character in the author's dress, because she also acknowledges, sorry if I pronounce this wrong, Kuranga Ituku, in the acknowledgements of the book. Like, she talks about how she, you know, owes this legendary woman for sort of like the story, I guess. I should probably actually get the book and read it. I'm not going to though, because I have some editing to do, so there we go. Kind of a reaction, but also not at all. At any rate, if you mysteriously liked this shambles of a video, like and subscribe and stuff, and I will see you again next time. Bye!